me.
But yeah,
Yeah, but this last piece, the week before they had showcased Saints Row, right? Or was it all this week that they did it?
no, this week they showed the gameplay. So the previous week at Gamescom they showed
They
the
did
trailer.
show the trailer.
They
of Saints
revealed
Row.
the game, but
Right.
this week had the gameplay.
So this one, yeah, they decided to have developers talking about it once again. They had the for this one, I saw they had the main actress, the one who plays the boss, which would be the character
Right.
you would play. They had her kind of taking you through the world of Saints Row, and I'll let you go first as far as like what you thought of the gameplay and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I
Just
was
talking and whatnot.
I was expecting something beautiful, like a next gen polished game. Like Grand Theft Auto, like just something. I was expecting. Oh, cool, a reboot. Like how we looked at Dead Space and we're just like, dude, man, like that's gorgeous. That's a reboot. That's pretty, right? And we looked at like Demon Souls. A lot of these reboots are like we're really impressed with.
Yeah.
So I was kind of expecting that when they showed the trailer for Saints Row. I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to seeing gameplay for that someday because I think it's going to be like a really next gen polished game. And then we saw gameplay this week, and in my opinion, man, it looked like Watch Dogs 2. Like it just looked like a Ubisoft game from 4 years ago. Like in my opinion, like it didn't look anything special. Like it looked very mundane, pretty standard open world. Even the characters all reminded me of like Watch Dogs 2 characters. Like, look at this. No, that's old. Yeah, that's old. I'm like, dude, if that's the game, that's horrendous. Like this video I'm watching. But like the characters, they're all like millennials who are like just graduated from college and just trying to get money to pay off. I'm not kidding you. This is what the developer said, to pay off their college loans. And I'm like, dude, like that ain't Saints Row that I remember. Like I remember like crime syndicate, like organized crime. Like these are like lifelong gangsters, people that are that have been in the biz, like
Right.
this just felt very millennial-ish and kind of a joke. And so I wasn't too happy with it, man. Like I do want to see more, but I wasn't happy with it. I thought the characters were not that well written. That what character interaction they did give us in there, I thought I was like, this isn't funny. Like they're trying to be funny, but it wasn't that funny. The dialogue they had between characters, and then like I said, it just didn't look that great to me, dude. So I don't know, man. What did you think?
I agree with you in some aspects. I do agree that in a lot of the footage or whatever that we saw, it definitely didn't seem like extremely next gen. It to me it looks good, but it looks good for like PlayStation 4,
Right.
or like Xbox One, type of thing.
Right.
So, everything wasn't looking too real. The trailer looked better than the actual gameplay because
exactly.
things looked really good in the trailer.
This looks just
and then
so poor to
in
me.
the gameplay, it seems like it's a little bit of a downgraded quality, but
Yep.
it did say that it was pre-alpha footage,
Okay.
gameplay footage. So maybe there will be some type of a graphical update later or down the line, or they're just working on things, and they just wanted to get some stuff out there to showcase.
Let me ask you this, bro.
This is
Like,
supposed to come out next year, so it shouldn't be too far off from the graphic quality.
If you didn't
I
know
don't
what
think
this
that
was, like you had no idea that this was Saints Row gameplay footage,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "Hey, yo, check out this new game coming out. Just watch the trailer." Like be honest. Like, don't you think like your first guess? And I was like, okay, guess what game that is? Like, what is that? The next Saints? Is that the next Watch Dogs? I don't think your mind would ever jump to that's like Saints Row to me. That's like Saints Row. I think your mind would probably immediately jump to like a Watch Dogs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of aspects on it that do seem like Watch Dogs,
like a Watch Dogs
or
clone.
some other type of a third person, game or whatever. It doesn't all the way feel like Saints Row, but I think it's because you're used to the characters that have been in Saints Row for so long, and since this is a reboot, they've tried to totally change it. As far as like
Why not make a new
how it
game then?
goes.
Why not just
Uh,
make a whole new game then, man?
I think at the same time, this
You know?
is a whole new game. It's just they're doing it in the same type of fashion as Saints Row. So that's why they're calling it Saints Row. But it's a
Really?
reboot, so it's not the same. It's not going to give you the same storyline, nor is it going to have the same characters. They might give you some Easter eggs of previous characters showing up
Yeah,
at
but wouldn't
random
it
in
still
this.
be like ringing of Saints Row then? Like this doesn't ring of Saints Row to me like almost at all. Like
I
when you look at the
think
God of War reboot, it's a reboot and you're right, it's different, but you know that's God of War. Like
because
the
it's COD
combat is
of.
still yeah, the combat is still brutal, it's still melee, it's still God of War.
Yeah, and I think
It's a
that this
change of
is still.
perspective, it's a change of graphics, but you know it's still God of War.
And I think this is still going to give you that gang activity, but I think it's going to be
Like
more.
Saints Row was gritty like GTA, real. I know not 3 was. I'm talking about like the originals. Like if you're gonna reboot it, it just felt more like a gritty, real vibe.
Mhm.
You just got that gritty, real gangster feel, crime feel.
Yeah, but I felt like there was a lot of like over the top that it would give you as opposed to like a different
Yeah,
a
it
different over
is
the
more over
top.
the
I mean,
top. You're right.
like Grand
It's
Theft
not
Auto would
directly
give
gritty
you
realism.
over the top scenes and stuff like that, but I feel like this would give you like over the top gameplay. Like it wasn't you didn't have like some weapon that would give you like a one punch man type of
Right,
combo that was just in
right.
the game. It's not like this was a modded thing. It's like in the game there's a glove that you can find that makes your hands really big and you can just one punch people to
Yeah.
death.
What I'm
You
looking at
know?
here, like I said, my first thought is Watch Dogs, but my second thought is like Dead Rising, where
Mm,
like you have like these different fun, powerful things you're using, and you're like attacking
yeah.
a group of guys. It's not as populated as Dead Rising, but you know what I mean. Like the combat, as I watch some of these scenes here, is like reminding me of like a Dead Rising game,
Yeah.
where you have like a whole bunch of different guns to use. It's kind of like out there. Like yeah, I see it's like you're blowing guys' heads off with a weird gun, or like you're doing this melee combat with this weapon.
I mean
Like it's much more over the top. Yeah, like
there
she's
was a lot of
dodging and
different
stuff.
a lot of different enemies and whatnot. I liked how certain gangs had certain special characteristics about them. Like one gang was just focusing mainly on strength.
Hmm.
Another gang was focused on like technology and stuff like that. It seems like it's more. They were trying to go more modernized or whatever with the game and
It's more
trying
like
to make it
hipsterized. It's like a
more
hipster
like
game.
relatable in a sense. I mean, I honestly I'm not opposed to the direction that they went as far as the characters and trying to give it a different look. I mean, games are all about what ifs, right? So what if a bunch of college students from different walks of life got together and decided to try to change the game? Like obviously the synopsis that they're
Like it's so
giving us for
funny.
this story of like a couple of kids wanting to pay their tuition is kind of like it's funny, it's like weird. That's like
It's so
why
weird.
would you start a gang on this? But at the same time, like in Saints Row, I feel like they do the weird shit, you know? So it's kind of like it's out of the box for
But it's not
this.
just weird. It just feels like very like hipster, um, you know,
Hmm.
millennial. It doesn't feel like. It just doesn't feel like Saints Row at all. It just feels like it just feels like a new game. So my first thought is like they're hijacking the Saints Row name just to collect on it, and they really just made a new game.
Hmm.
You're right.
That could be very
You
well what it is.
you are right though that Saints Row is generally more outrageous gameplay
Hmm.
than GTA. But it really was. It was gangsters and like more gritty. This is not that at all. And so I'm just like confused. Where I would have just rather him revealed like a new game, a new IP. Like
I
here's
hear
a
you.
new IP, Because
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would, even if they, let's say they gave us a new name and it was a new IP. I don't think anyone would go, that looks a lot like Saints Row. Did they just steal from Saints Row there? I don't think anyone would do that, dude.
Yeah,
They
and
wouldn't risk that.
right, and that's excuse me. That's another reason why it's like a reboot. Like it's almost like a true reboot. Like it's not going in the same path. Like
Like the
um
truest nature of the name, right?
yeah,
It's
like
not the
they've gone
traditional
on a
use of
totally
reboot, but it's
different.
like a whole redo.
Yeah.
Call
Yeah,
it a redo. Yeah.
I just recently saw this is like off topic, but um Wonder Years for that came out on
Right.
ABC.
Right.
They've
Right.
totally like
I
changed
know it's all
Wonder
different.
Years.
Right.
So that's interesting. It's like it's giving you a different show now. So it's not like, taking was it Roseanne or whatever, and they just older, and then they giving you, just what they do now, being older. You know what I mean? It's a whole nother show. It's like a whole new generation of people that will see this, and that will be Wonder Years. This will be Saints Row from now on.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not a fan
so
of that only because like I'd rather just be a new show because it's like for me that's like taking something I really like. I'll use for example like God of War. Not God of War, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones to me. And I fell in love with Game of Thrones for what it is. And if, let's say, 20 years down the road, someone comes along and they reboot Game of Thrones and it's completely different than Game of Thrones, like that is frustrating to me because they've changed and completely transformed what it was. I'd rather them just make a new IP rather than taking something and letting it be for what it was. Make something new. I'm fine with making something completely new. Why do you have to change what people fell in love with already? Like, I love the character Tyrion. If you come along and you make another Tyrion, and this time he's not a midget, let's say he's just like whatever, tall and loosey and goosey, and that's Tyrion, that's like that's annoying to me because I love Tyrion. And now that's no longer Tyrion. Just calling him Tyrion now doesn't make him Tyrion. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather them just make a whole new story then and change the IP and make a new story.
I know what you're saying.
That's what I've always wanted, which I'm totally fine. I want new stories. I just feel like sometimes they take these things that are popular and they just take the names to draw in people as a ploy of garnering attention that they wouldn't have otherwise got with a whole new IP. You know?
And at that point, right? It's more so about the content. Now it's if that content is good.
Well, that matters
will
most.
You enjoy it?
That
You know
matters
what I mean?
most. Yes.
The name is the name at the end of the day. It's all about the gameplay and stuff like that and how it's handled. That's that really makes
right.
Because the game could be. They could keep these names, Project Athia or whatever, and it wouldn't matter as long as the game is good. Like, it will be then known as that. You know what I mean? So if they give us another Saints Row and the Saints Row is actually good, like the gameplay is good, maybe you don't care for the story, but maybe the story isn't the main piece of it. Maybe the world that they've created is the main piece or something like that. Maybe it's just as fun as the original Saints Rows were. You know what I mean? It's just a name at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And yeah, that name holds weight to get you to, hey, look my way.
I agree. Gameplay matters big time. I'm just saying we as people, we fall in love with what we love. Right? Like if someone came along and said, oh yeah, I know Marcus. And I go, oh yeah, me too. And he describes someone like completely different than you. I'm going to say, no, that's not Marcus.
Well,
that's not the person that I... He's like, no, that is. It is. That is Marcus.
It is Marcus, but it's not the Marcus you know.
No, but he's saying that it is you. Like, that's what I feel like this is. They're trying to say, no, this is Saints Row. I'm like, no, that isn't Saints Row. It isn't Saints Row at all. Like, that's kind of like what I'm saying. Like, that's my frustration, right? We fall in love with what we love, and we want it to be that when it's called that, right? So... That's really, I think, the irk here for me. Not that I think it might. There are some aspects here when I watch this trailer, like I said, like that look fun. Like when she's mowing down all those gangsters and she has like the fun weapons and it's outrageous and there's like a big hammer.
Yeah.
Like there's some cool things there that I think would be fun. And part of me wonders, like, what if they had just, like I said already, made an IP and showed that? why wouldn't I still just like that? Now you're not just getting mad at me because you're trying to make me think this is something that it isn't. You know? So
Yeah, so I guess down in the comments below, you can tell us whether you like the route that Saints Row is going. Maybe you haven't played any of the Saints Rows before, and this would be the first time entering into that IP. Let us know if that even looks interesting to you. Does trying to go against Sally Mae seem like a good storyline? But I look forward to seeing more about Saints Row and hopefully getting a little bit more extensive gameplay footage. I understand, about the world and things like that and the gangs and stuff like that, but I want to see more about the characters and then how they're going about
the weapons and all the things you can, all the ways you can kill people.
Yeah, for sure. So, I believe that they're going to pump out, a lot of information about this, before it ends up fully coming out. I think this one was scheduled for 2022. I can't remember.
It is.
For sure.
It is.
So, yeah. So,
It looks almost done to me, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it does.
They have a full
solid,
world there, they have dialogue. It's all done, it looks like.
Right. And then, and they said pre-alpha gameplay footage. So maybe that was just, what they had compiled.
Right, for this trailer.
They've gone further since then. So, maybe we'll get to see that improvement. But, yeah. But, so that is all we have this week for the list of topics. Like we said, stay tuned for that freaking PlayStation news. Comes out Thursday. We probably gonna be recording Friday or Saturday, so we'll be right there to talk about it. That's definitely some exciting news. Maybe we'll get another week chock full of like new information and shit, or maybe there'll be so much to talk about just in that one PlayStation showcase that that's all the episode's about. But yeah, so this was probably like almost 3 hours long. So
it's like our biggest podcast ever, man. Probably the most news-filled podcast.
We've had a couple of long ones, but
events
definitely not like as much news. We used to cut that shit down.
This is nuts, man.
Yeah. We want to make sure we got everything for you guys. We know it's not too many of y'all that actually watch the full video.
If you made it here, man, code word WLG. Put it in the comment section.
You gonna see this in the clip cut or whatever. So yeah, just comment WLG. Down below.
You made it this far.
I know it's a couple of y'all real ones that watched the whole full podcast, and we do appreciate you guys.
Totally, man.
Those are the ones that we really care about. Those are we care about all of the videos that we put out, but those are the ones where we're talking about the games that we've played and giving you our first experiences or whatever with these games. So we share a little bit more information, at least in the first 15 to 20, maybe 40 minutes or whatever, just about the stuff
it's all about what you play.
So if you guys are ever interested in what we've been playing, go back and watch the full video. Or if you're watching this one, and you skip to the end for some godforsaken reason, go back and watch the beginning of it,
Yeah, the podcast is timestamped, man. You don't have to watch. You can just watch what we play.
You don't gotta watch the little cuts that's chopped, here and there for this. Watch the whole thing and just skip to the points that you want to watch, But either way, we appreciate you. If you haven't yet, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next week, we'll catch you later. Deuces.
Peace.
See you.
I love you, me.